Welcome everybody to VRML Season 13 Week 1. I am your host Jamie, bringing you a pretty unknown kind of game today actually. AhmehFluff going to take on AhmehFluff, both of these teams being brand new to Season 13, having not played any official games yet, so it's going to be difficult to say how they are going to approach these maps. And the first map we are actually going to be bringing you today is going to be Suburbia Night, and this is my first cast of the season on a night map, and it's kind of one of my favorite actually. It brings a different kind of challenge to it versus certain other maps, or when you normally kind of play Suburbia. Some corners are going to be a little bit darker than usual, and it's going to be more difficult to be able to spot the bulk defenders. And with the first objective being the North Road red car objective, very capable, lots of equipment utility usage needed, smokes being one of the key things, because if you can get at least one attacker just through the threshold of lane 3 onto the red car, and a cap is definitely available there as long as your team is backing you up and clearing the houses around you. And whilst we do wait for the final two members of AhmehFluff to jump in, what we can do is actually go onto the bans. Very interesting bans coming out. AhmehFluff are actually going to be banning Quarantine. So, bigger map off the table. A difficult one for newer teams, does require a lot of cohesion and communication, so maybe AhmehFluff not feeling that they're just up to that kind of challenge at the moment. I think these guys probably would have been scrimming quite a lot during the off-season, so the chances are they've come against each other, things have happened on Quarantine, thought no, not taking that one today. With AhmehFluff having banned Cargo, so the last smallest map being taken off the tables, which generally is better for these newer teams, as you can come up with some pretty quick plans very quickly, fairly easily as well. So these teams not going to be playing on those smaller maps tonight. It does seem like we are still waiting on that third the fifth member, should I say, and the fourth. So whilst we do wait on them, give a quick shout out to the chat. Can see you guys talking. Paydexter, Battlestar. Good to see you guys in the chat and watching the game. Really, who do you guys know these teams? What do you guys think are going to be the outcome from these guys taking it, duking it out tonight? One thing I do like about Suburbia, going into it a little bit as we have time, is how even it is for the newer teams, I guess. And like I said earlier, these teams being very new to the Season 13. This season we have seen quite a lot of new teams actually, and during Season 12 actually. So going to be bringing you as much action, as much games as we can, really. I mean, I know a few of us have been really ramped it up this season, getting a lot of casts in this week. So just watch the channels, make sure you're following the Onward VRML, this channel, VRML 2, VRML 3, because there is going to be so many games being brought to you over the next few weeks. It's going to be hard to keep up, really, and it's going to be action-packed, I can say. So back to this map though, lots of different kind of objectives. This north side being probably one of the more difficult, as I mentioned earlier, to attack really. Volt will be able to get positions in the buildings, just set on the porches and just cover the lanes, cover any crosses, and that can certainly bring a pretty difficult challenge for any Marsoc attackers to push through, and two of their members the Marsoc try and push through, so it does make it very difficult. I am getting word there is going to be bit of a timeout before we get going here, so I'm just going to go over to a quick intermission whilst we just work out the kinks there and get back to you as soon as we can. welcome back everyone. So we are going to be going ahead, it seems, with a 4v5 in favor of Aging Moss. So AhmehFluff going to have to do a little bit of work during this game and taking out that first member of Aging Moss pretty early on, evening things up 4-4, but we'll dive into the first round of the first map, being Suburbia Night. So we will see a flash come out pretty early on there, and not going to find a mark as it did just land just above the house. So Battlestar going to be pretty comfortable and safe exactly where he is. Lost Ion taking that first pick, evening things up 4-4. Battlestar attendees going to have a bit of a battle, but Battlestar going to be the victor in that one.
He's behind the fence on their spawn.
Call out from MP of good call out there behind the fence. Mr. Esports though is covering lane 4, easily takes him out. Lost Ion going down also. Battlestar pushing around lane 3, does find Mr. Flooper as he's pushing across the lane 1, and Aging Moss will take this first round. So pretty fiery first round going on there as Aging Moss successfully defend the north side of Suburbia. Like I said earlier, it's not an easy one to be attacking. It can be so difficult, especially when you're already down one player. Like I say, you've got to get that early pick, evening things up 4-4, and then try and work with that as best you can. And hopefully you don't lose any members in the process, really. So AhmehFluff got a lot of work going on here, and it started off like a pretty decent attack. To be fair, you know, they getting into position and the call-outs were being made, but having only 3 members of your own roster, 1 reservist, and then the 5th not being there, it's definitely going to be tough. And I really feel for them in having to go through that, but fair play to them for firing through and still getting there, you know. At the end of the day, a lot of Onward does come down to skill and that luck as well, so hopefully tonight luck is going to be on their side. Aging Moss now having to attack the same objective that they've just defended, and like I say, it's going to work in favour of Volt really, as long as AhmehFluff can cover those lanes and stop any kind of approaches coming from the south. They should be pretty well safe. Whilst I've been talking there, we are going to go into round number 2 now. Map number 1. A little bit of pre-fire there, going to stall the Aging Moss advance as they try to get safe, but fortunately AhmehFluff not going to, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, going to not continue with pre-fire and just get into some spots and see who they can see. Mr. Flooper getting into a pretty aggressive spot early on here as he covers the lane 1 approach, and if Aging Moss aren't prepared for this or watching for it, he could get a couple picks.
There's no way in that lane, by the way. No way over. No way over there. No way over there.
That's how dark the map actually is. So if you haven't got night vision, this is what you're going to be looking at. There's the 2 picks that just needed. Mr. Flooper doing very well to take out Mr. Esports and Amethyst. Finding Battlestar also, but AGM Tommy going to take Tendies down over on the playground. Aging Moss now down to 2 players. Playground advance being the push that they're going to go for now. Tendies going to be getting these call-outs though of this movement. So MP going to be very well aware of this approach coming in. Mr. Flooper wants to get a little bit aggressive. Great shot. Decides to crouch down low, take out IMG's feet from below the truck there. Very well played. And with a cross out in the open there, Tommy's going to get taken out by Mr. Flooper also. What a very, very fantastic play there. Nice ace. Really good, I must say. Mr. Flooper, MVP for that round there, gets into a very, very powerful position really early on there, whilst Agent Moss were distracted by that early little bit of pre-fire there. Certainly stalled their advance, so Mr. Flooper pushing in, gets to lane 2, covers lane 1 really well, and just then comes round and decides to help out on the approach there, where Agent Moss are coming through the playground. So fantastic work for a new team, new player maybe. In the grand scheme of things, maybe he's been around a little bit, but just great map awareness and acting upon that. And with that, we will be changing the objective now, going over to the not so burning porch anymore. And you'll probably hear this thrown out a little bit. This porch here used to be on fire, but subsequent updates have removed the fire. It finally got put out, and the house is fine. I've been happy to know. Seems like people have actually moved back in. So good news all round. This objective, though, unfortunately, very difficult to defend, and if you're a bit too relaxed on your defense, you're going to probably see a cap come in from behind these sandbags here. We have seen one already today over on VRML 1, where a VR set taking on OBL did get their cap from behind these crates here, so it goes to show you need to always be watching. It's a very, very tough one. And we are, on the sounds of it, going into round number 3 now of map number 1. AhmehFluff taking on AG Moss, 4-5 as it stands, and currently doing well in spite of that. So again, just a little bit of pre-fire coming out, not going to really find its mark there, but it may act to distract or just hinder the approach coming from AG Moss, as they aren't too sure whether there will be any more fire coming out from AhmehFluff. Quick look onto the map, and it seems like AG Moss going pretty heavy over by Spawnhouse, retaining that kind of defense there. Tendies with a great shot onto Battlestar does take out the first member of AG Moss.
Flash out.
Mr. Flooper finding a pick of his own onto Tommy, taking him out in Spawnhouse, and this is going to be the key one there, but Tendy's getting a little bit overzealous, does get taken out himself by IMG. Amethyst being in mid-house at the moment, in a prime position really to protect anyone coming from lane 1. Mr. Flooper does finally find IMG. That takes out Spawnhouse, and currently there is no one covering the objective. So Mr. Flooper has got Tablet out. He is very close. I was talking about this just, and unfortunately it looks like nobody was actually rotating in, not realizing there was no cover. Mr. Flooper, again, very well played with the first cap of the night. Well, you gotta be feeling good about this at the moment. You know, you're one player down, and you've got a reservist in as well. And Mr. Flooper just on a killing spree at the moment. 7 kills and 1 death, 1 cap. At the moment, it's looking very promising for this side. They are now going into a defensive round, and it's going to be the same objective. So AG Moss going to be looking to do something similar there, take out that playground defense. If anybody's in the spawn house, take them out, as they do have that overarching loop onto the objective. If you can take them out, and the Vault team haven't got time to react or just calm because they're going to get taken out and get stuck in their positions, the cap is on. goes to show Bulk need to be rotating in. It's the key thing that the teams at the higher levels will do that you'll see on stream. When people go down and there's no cover on that objective, you've got to get eyes on it. It is the most important part. AhmehFluff punishing AhmehMoss for not watching that. It's going to be interesting to see how AhmehMoss now reacts to that and bring themselves together to be able to try and get a cap of their own. They're doing very well to get picked at the moment. They're all holding the weight and they're in the positions, but unfortunately, AhmehFluff just having that edge at the moment. Sounds like we are going into the third round. Yes, no, fourth round. Sorry, I can't do math when it comes to 12 o'clock in the morning for me. Doesn't work. So AhmehFluff now on the defense. 4 players to defend this objective. Going to be a bit of a tough one, really. AhmehMoss really need to get these lines of pre-fire down. And that is definitely what sets certain teams apart on this map, is having those lines of pre-fire down lane 3 onto the Vault defense. If you can stop them from being able to get into positions, it certainly opens up your chances for cap. They've got to get into positions when you're already there, you're going to get them. So get that pre-fire in, people. And we are coming down to the push on lane 4, but Mr. Flooper protecting lane 3 does find a pick. Very early on, this is down to a 4v4. Amethyst, though, does find Tendies standing in the mid-house window. Can't get too peeky there, Mr. Flooper. His position is known by Tommy. All it takes is one frag grenade or one flash in a push, and you're taken out. There's the flash. Lost Ion, finding IMG. Mr. Flooper not taking that, he playing it well. Decides to get behind some cover. Unfortunately, though, the trade is going to come out as him and Tommy see each other. Amethyst finding Tendies, turning this into a 2v1 now. Very difficult to defend. MP last man standing in the smoke. Great movement onto the porch there. It's the last place you can really defend this from. Just needs to sit down and do just that, really. Great pick onto Mr. Esports, who couldn't quite land those shots. He is on his own, talking to himself. He's rotating into a new spot now. Amethyst not going to be aware of exactly where he is, so it does come down to how he takes this. The sandbags are open and the cap is on, exactly what we saw in that last one, but Amethyst deciding to go into MP's gunfire. Does run out of ammo. Has to get back into cover, but just can't quite do it. Amethyst saves the day by giving AhmehMoss their second point of the night. AhmehMoss there showing they are not out despite there being a cap. They are coming back in a great fashion to get this their second point. AhmehFluff now on the attack. And the next objective is going to be Spawn House, which objectively is easier for Vault to defend. You know, Marsoc have got to basically travel the length of the map to get back behind the objective or inside Spawn House to get that cap. So it's a very, very tough battle for Marsoc to get through. And Bolt very easily could just push up just a little bit, cover the street, make sure nobody gets past that tank, and just get your sight lines down. Just a quick look on the kill death there. Mr. Flooper with a nice 9 and 2, still sitting with his cap. Lost Ion got a couple picks in that last round there, bumping himself up to a 3 and 2. Tendies and MP both having to kill each themselves. AhmehMoss very even with their kills at the moment. Mr. Esports being the only player with 3 kills, everyone else 2 kills themselves. So both these sides pulling their weight really, and they're really fighting for those kills and just getting into those positions to be able to pick people off, which is it's great to see. You know, these are 2 brand new teams to season 13. They've never played in a competitive side, I don't think. I mean, maybe a couple of the players may have been over teams since season 12. It's always a possibility, but these 2 teams themselves being brand new, it's tough. So we're having a little bit extra long on these deliberations tonight, as AhmehFluff may be coming up with a good plan to be able to try and get another cap in there. Easiest way of doing that, you've got to be able to try and get past the Volk offensive, really, past that line, and it's easier said than done. It definitely requires some good teamwork to be able to distract them and get the smokes in that you need. And we are now going to see if AhmehFluff can actually pull that off. As we head into round number 5, map number 1. This is AhmehFluff's pick. So AhmehFluff opting for a defense on the backside of their spawn, staying in spawn house, and going to just try and cover some lanes. IMG being the first one to find it.
There's one rushing towards lane 4.
Did land some shots, but unfortunately didn't quite kill him. And MP Mr. Flooper going to take out their positions very quickly. 3 people gone down. Mr. Flooper again, just getting those kills, and it's great to see from these teams. AhmehFluff can't really do a lot currently. He's just got to hold this mid house. It's a very, very strong position when it comes to this defense. Takes out MP, but he has got to be covering that objective. If he's not watching, Tendies may just go through unseen. Shots coming out. Take the distraction. Flooper starts to finish off Amethyst, giving AhmehFluff their first map point. Well, I must say, a fantastic play really from AhmehFluff. Mr. Flooper really pulled his weight in that one to be able to get the win, and he really led the team on there, and just fantastic play. And now we are actually going to go on to Abandon. So this is going to be AhmehMoss's pick, and it's obviously a much bigger map. The question is going to be for this one really, how is that going to shake things up for this AhmehFluff side, as they clearly enjoyed that smaller map. It was their pick, so we'll see a very different side. And AhmehMoss being more confident on Abandoned, or just wanting to trying to look at taking AhmehFluff onto this map and seeing if that does change things up for them, as I'm thinking it would. And Abandoned is one of those bigger maps, so again, talk about it a lot. It's that cohesion that's needed, and maybe AhmehMoss have kind of got that down, and that's what's making them confident for this map. First objective coming up is going to be the tank area, so this is a very, very... It's a fun one to defend, really. You need to have your defenders, obviously, on the objective. So, with AhmehFluff being down a player, it's certainly going to make some of these defenses a little bit more difficult, as you do tend to want to try and have 5 if you can, as it's just tough to hold certain lanes and angles and pushes, and when you're already down a player, it's certainly even more tougher as people go down. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how AhmehFluff do react and respond and soldier on through this. AhmehMoss do have an advantage on this one, and in having that player, so this could be a very different story there. Have had a roster change as Silent Reaper now coming and making an appearance for AhmehMoss. And we were talking about this earlier with Nightfire, and teams generally, or in the newer phase, don't tend to rotate people in and out too often based on the map. So it's good to see that kind of precedence being set in these lower, in the newer teams. Just say it's something that you see in the higher ups, where people bring players in who are more confident on maps, or just more warmed up, or who are just in the better frame of mind. So it's a very tough one to do, of course, and it's just something that sometimes has to be done, unfortunately. We are going into the final minute of deliberations, I guess, whilst AhmehMoss let Silent Reaper know exactly what he's got to do. AhmehFluff probably enjoying the moment currently. They've got their first map win, as they took a very good Suburbia lead there. They're going to be wanting to continue with that momentum going into this abandoned map. Deliberations taking just a little bit longer than usual. So whilst we have the time, how's it going again, chat? Did you guys enjoy that Suburbia? Was the outcome that happened the outcome that you were expecting, or were you expecting something different? How do you think things are going to go now? Whilst everyone deliberates that, we are going to go into the first round now of map number 2, being abandoned. AhmehMoss taking on AhmehFluff. And if I remember right, I'm pretty sure there may only be one spawn for this objective, I think. Oh, I'm doing Onward things there.
You know what I just realized?
Three-story?
Yep.
Three-story?
Inside the window or
Far
what?
back right?
Yep, inside the window.
Can keep an eye out this way.
Does look like we have a couple snipers here.
I'm gonna move up if you guys can watch me.
People decide to take the 4Xs. I'm a big fan of the 4X. So AhmehMoss on the attack at the moment. Silent Reaper and Tommy pushing up over on this east side. They're going to be the first to come into contact with AhmehFluff as MP covers this approach here. And I don't think Tommy's going to be prepared for it. There it is, the first kill of this map. MP taking down Tommy. Silent Reaper got to call this out to his team now. movement coming in from IMG, who decides to bolster this eastern push. MP's still covering this angle. Gunshots from Flooper as he sees movement from Amethyst, I believe, but doesn't quite land the shots. So Amethyst will survive to get through another day.
Got it.
And this is a tough push to make. Unfortunately, though, Amethyst gets caught out in the open there. Flooper with a fantastic pick onto him. AhmehFluff showing they don't need that fifth player. They are going to continue playing either way, and they are going to push through and get those picks. MP just narrowly misses Silent Reaper. It's becoming a battle of the eastern front now as MP holding on to onto this motel area. AMG just moving up very, very slowly and using the opportunity where he is not being watched and pushing through. Tendy's coming up to bolster this side now.
Yep, contact. Right below you.
Yep. -1.
Tendy's with a great pick onto Silent Reaper. Going to take IMG out. Just misses his back. IMG going to have to reload.
So there's nothing on us. Got him.
And takes out IMG, successfully calling him out. AhmehFluff up 4 still. Down to the last member of AG Moss. Battlestar pushing in on his own, being relatively quiet up until this point. So AhmehFluff not going to be expecting this push. Two minutes, 10 seconds remaining on the clock. Battlestar does have a lot of time at the moment on his hands. He can get himself into a position to be able to take out a couple members and then rotate round and just cause that kind of confusion. So they're covering this angle. Be in for a cap. Fortunately, he does have the 4x, which is going to make it somewhat difficult as he gets into these close quarters battles now. I'm going to do a little bit of spray and pray, or if you practiced well enough with it, you can get those quick peaks. Mr. Flooper definitely heard all this movement. There's the first pick that Battlestar needs. 1 minute, 10 seconds remaining. It all comes down to the wire. Great pick onto MP as he rotates back into the objective, bringing this into a 2v1 very quickly. 1 minute remaining. Flooper very aware of all this movement now. Tendy's trying his battle, his chances, gets taken out. Battlestar not going down without a fight. 1v1, takes out 3 members of AhmehFluff on his own. Gunshots come out. More gunshots. Trying to pre-fire, gets a quick reload in. That's going to be crucial. We've seen too many moments tonight where people have run out of ammo at the last moment where you just needed that gunshot. 20 seconds remaining. Flooper doing the right thing. Just evade. That's all you need to do currently. 15 seconds. Battlestar takes more shots. Flooper pushing back and forth. 10 seconds remaining. This is a battle of wills. Fantastic pick onto it. Onto Battlestar. Flooper going to be the victor from that. A little bit of a nah, screw you moment there. Gunshots coming back and forth. This is the kind of plays that we expect to see at this moment in the game, really. AhmehFluff getting down to the last member of their team to have to take out AG Moss. 10 seconds remaining. Battlestar with just a great approach onto the objective there to take out 3 members. Couldn't really have come any closer than that, could it? To be honest. AhmehFluff doing really well considering they've got those only 4 players. And the residents. AG Moss just not able to cut it on that last one. I guarantee Battlestar will have been getting some high praise as he went into the tent there, as taking on even 2 players is a great feat, but even 4, that's just amazing. And the countdown does ring out. So we will go into the next round, which is going to be round number 2 of map number 2. AG Moss now on the defense. AhmehFluff all the way in the northeast.
Give me, where? Give me, there we go.
Alright,
go.
get this.
They're probably gonna put somebody in that hotel building that Fluke was in last round.
Okay. I'll be checking that one. Don't worry.
Just stay with me. We're gonna try to play quiet and in the tube.
Once we get to like the Valley Cross, yeah.
Some final,
You can go right as soon
some
as we
final
get the
planning there coming out from the AhmehFluff side, and do need those plans. Silent Reaper opting to take MP's spot in the last one, and successful call out there. He's going to be looking to defend this as well as before. Looper with the 12x, trying to get the sight, trying to get shots onto Amethyst. Just not quite going to land them though. MP with the
-1
first pick of the
upward
round
side,
takes out Battlestar.
North hangar. In apartments? Where specifically?
One down.
IMG though going to find a pick of his own. Taking out Tendies. Down to a 3v4 now in favor of AG Moss still.
Shit.
Smoke comes out from MP as he tries his hand at the cross now. Successfully gets through. Getting closer and closer now to the objective. AG Moss going to have to be watching this. Is it the distraction that they want though? Silent Reaper going to have to peek and check this. And the question is then going to be, is AhmehFluff watching for that? Objective is relatively open. Oh, the team kill coming out. Silent Reaper finding IMG. Peek of the objective here, and MP goes in trying his luck. Is putting in the code. And the
Got it.
cap comes out.
Yeah, I was right.
What a cap there. Very well played. Plays to the fact that it was just not, there was just no cover. The smoke so well placed. Just look at that. He was just nicely sat in there. Tommy not able to see him, not even sure of what was really kind of going on there. And then fortunately or unfortunately, depending on where you look at it, AhmehFluff to get the cap. And this is looking like a very, very strong side coming into Season 13. They're brand new to the season, and they are out here getting the kills. They are out here getting the caps. That is the second cap of the night, 1 cap per match so far. AhmehFluff really need to just now get into the game at this point and really try and fight back, and that's easier said than done. It is not an easy thing when a team is especially getting caps of just fighting back. And at this point now, AhmehFluff 1 point away from this winning this series, and the pressure is definitely going to be on for AhmehFluff. Then it's not even that it's been easier or anything for AhmehFluff. AhmehFluff are really putting up fights in these rounds. They're getting the picks and they're getting into those positions. I think a little bit of experience once they've had these things happen like that cap there. You're going to check for that now. There is going to be never a point when you are not looking at that. I can put money on that one. And with that, going into round number 3. And the objective is going to change. It isn't going to go that much further away. And this objective, pretty difficult. You're very out in the open and exposed. It definitely works against Volk, where they want to be kind of getting rid of cover. Flooper with the first kill onto Battlestar evens things out. 4-2-4.
North side, left. One down. One enemy down, by the way.
Does get the call out, so everyone's going to be aware of this. Tendies, though, moving around and making a lot of noise. Amethyst does hear this, but he's getting trained in on Flooper. And we can see this AhmehFluff side slowly surrounding AhmehFluff. And it's not kind of a position you want to be in, really, as defenders getting surrounded. Flooper gets his pick onto IMG also. Tommy, though,
One down.
going to be the victor between him and Tendies. Down to a 3v3 very quickly. As MP finds a pick onto Amethyst. 3v2. This is match... Well, yeah, it is match point for AhmehFluff, so they are fighting for this. AhmehFluff really needs to put a stop to this momentum, really. C4 goes out. MP downing himself with it. So as quick as we were having those little bits of argy-bargy, it does go a little bit quieter now. 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. Lots of time to be able to get up to the objective for AhmehFluff. And Tommy certainly in a position really to be able to just sneak up to it. If he can sync up with the last remaining member, this could go their way. Oh, and the long-range gunshots onto Lost Ion. Brilliant shot there from Tommy. Mr. Flooper now, the sole defender still up. Just goes to show a little mistake like downing yourself with C4. It can certainly make things difficult then. But Tommy just caught out in the open. Mr. Flooper with a great pick.
MP, I'm gonna need to revive the other guy first. There's next to the uplink.
Just talked about getting those revives in. Silent Reaper, though,
The fuck are you?
having all the opportunity, it seems, to be able to just slowly get up to the objective. First revive does come out, turn this into a 2v1. In favor of AhmehFluff.
MP, do you have any intel?
Silent Reaper getting closer and closer to the objective, and he's getting in a very, very dangerous spot now for AhmehFluff. He can get any higher in this building and be able to and just look out onto the objective, then he's going to be able to get a few picks. Movements now being made closer and closer to the objective. Lost Ion already gone down once tonight, so he is going to be a breath away from being taken out of the game entirely. Does Luke at the right moment. Hears all that gun, hears those footsteps. And is able to secure AhmehFluff's victory today. It's unfortunate really there for the Silent Reaper, as he didn't really have any options as to where he could have moved. Maybe he could have gone behind the containers and got behind them to be able to try and take some shots, but it's tough when you're in the moment, as the pressure does mount up a little bit, and especially when you know you were that last player, it's definitely hard. So very good effort really from AhmehFluff. Unfortunately, it was their map pick that they went into on this, and it was just a great effort really all round. And it seems like we are going to go on to Downfall now, so another map that's pretty big. Now we go into the third map of the night. AhmehFluff have taken the victory despite being a single player down and playing with the reservies. So just very well played by them. AhmehFluff now going to be playing for points essentially for this, and it's still always worth, always going for that win in the last one. Even if you've lost the two maps before, because if you can get at least close to the points that they've got, your MMR loss is going to be somewhat minimal. So when you get a little bit later on into the season, it is very important then. So, but these matches at the moment, you got to remember, this is the first match of the season for these two teams, so it's going to be tough no matter what, and the experience of the individual players certainly will come out and show in certain situations. So you can't get discouraged in these moments, as it's a tough game, and it's tough when you are going from either scrims or even just playing in lobbies with people, and even comp lobbies, and then straight away jump into a game. It's very tough. So we are going to go into the first round of the third map now. AhmehFluff taking on AhmehFluff still, and it's been a great game so far. If you're only just jumping in, there's been a lot of back and forth. The scores really don't depict it, and AhmehFluff putting up a fight right now on North HQ objective. So one of the main things that you do see people do here would be the pre-fire from the steps there. AhmehFluff didn't get the spawn that they would have wanted in the northeast to be able to do to get some pre-fire onto Vault, opting to just get some overwatch positions and keep an eye on exactly what's going on. First gunshots were coming out from Battlestar, but Flooper does get some retaliatory shots in. will find that pick.
Facing east, watching me though.
Try to bait some shots. Bait some shots. Bait him.
Luca with another shot onto Tommy, does take him out, and he's being devastating with a sniper rifle in these long-range shots tonight. Does get the call out though. Bait some shots out, you know. He can see them. It's just getting those shots in. Uh, 3v4, 3v4 at the moment, North HQ objective. The rest of the defenders are just tucked in tight on this objective, and it is important. Tendies tries his hand at pushing out in the open. Unfortunately, though, Silent Reaper covering that angle very well. Lost eye on those spots Amethyst's movements, takes him out. Went down to a 2v3 now. But you can say 2.5 versus 3.5. Amethyst going to get some good callouts.
I killed one on OBJ.
Always double tap your kills, Lost. That's the main thing. Silent Reaper trying to get the revive there. Not quite able to push out as Lost Ion covering that angle very well. IMG in a very powerful position himself. One thing you have got to watch out though for when you're in that position is make sure that nobody pushes in through the basement, as you cannot see that push and you can cap from underneath. Mr. Flooper finding the revive onto Tendies, giving them the one-man advantage, but Silent Reaper seeing MP does take him down as well. Doesn't have an accurate kill count though. They are going to be playing to the fact that Agent Moss are going to think that AhmehFluff have got 2 players, as that revive did come out. Mr. Flooper now finding the final shots onto Silent Reaper, taking him out as Agent Moss now down to 1 player. AhmehFluff really taking it to Agent Moss on this map. Showing that they are pretty well versed in majority of maps. I imagine they've been scrimming so much, or
No, I don't have.
maybe it's a team that played together before.
Get an extra. Thanks.
Still, it is fantastic to see this kind of cohesion and communication. And the final kill does come out. Lost Ion and IMG trading, giving AhmehFluff their first point of the 3rd map. It's just Colin, you know. Agent Moss doing all the right things that they need to be doing. You know, they're getting into positions. I mean, there's been a couple, you know, swinging out in the open on downfall. Not something you want to be doing really on bulk unless you can really help it. So it is something that you have to be aware of. Once you have your position with those first 10-15 seconds, you've got to maintain those positions and hold them unless you really need to rotate in the scenario where people on the objective have gone down. That is the point when you need to be moving in, or just moving around there. So got to be watching that, and it's tough. So Agent AhmehFluff though doing great things. Flooper calling out in that, you know, creates a bit of a distraction, draw them out. I can get those picks into the windows and I'm watching them. So it's just great to see that teamwork from this side, and they're getting the picks doing that. If they continue with that, they will probably progress further and on these longer range maps. With that, we will go into the 2nd round of the 3rd map. And AG Moss have been given the quicker spawn, so the negative to this one, which for Volt really is if Marsok can get all the way over to here and get a little peeky peek, you will see those people moving around.
I've been off it since we started.
Okay.
Just a little FYI for any teams here watching tonight and maybe not being aware of that, you do have the ability to get
They
the
got
shots.
Valley
Lost
spawn.
Ion with a great long-range shot onto Silent Reaper. Only down, though. Not taken out completely, so the revive certainly going to be on.
Yeah, he was in.
Oh, Flooper with a shot onto Battlestar just as it was close there. That's the second player to go down now.
Indeed, you are.
So, looks like we did get a couple revives there, and things happened. It looks like we lost a couple people. AG Moss down to 3 now. AhmehFluff still up 4. Flooper getting those long-range picks, and certainly shows you want to be taking these guys on the smaller maps, as they've just got these long-range shots down so well. Flooper out in the open though. Tries his chances. No, doesn't get spotted, so he's going to be slowly moving now further and further into the Mossock offensive. Getting closer and closer to the brothel. It's going to be a powerful position over here, as Mossock do need to be coming through his lines of sight. And AG Moss haven't seen this rotation come out, so they are not going to be truly prepared for it, unfortunately.
USAL.
Coming down to the fourth, well, just over 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. It's a very long time on
-1,
this map.
upper
Lost
dumpster.
Ion with another great long-range shot onto Amethyst. Looper trying to see what he can see, but not going to quite spot IMG, as he's pretty tucked away behind this building here. The Lost Ion gonna get a shot onto Battlestar, does take him out. IMG trying to take his shots onto Tend, he's not quite able to land them. And Lost Ion again with another long range shot, being devastating from lower red truck there. Does give AhmehFluff their second point. This AhmehFluff side definitely showing that they're well versed on these larger maps. That I think the ban that came in from AG Moss maybe was more tactical. But it's always a tough one if you're not kind of used to Downfall as a team. It's not an easy one to play together and be able to work together on. It definitely requires a certain amount of hours and time put in to just learn the map and learn the angles, learn how you can make crosses successfully and how to survive. One thing that you need to be doing is just not be out in the open on this map, because for all you know, and for the most part, there is people watching. They're always watching those angles. They're always watching those crosses. So you need to be in cover. Do your communication there. Do what you need to. Somebody's taking shots at you. Don't stand out in the open and try and fire back. Get to your position. Call out their position, and then when you're in a building nice and safe, then you can try and take shots at them. It's one of those things that you do learn as you play, though. And with that, we are going to go into the third round of the third map. AhmehFluff in the lead at the moment, but AhmehMoss not out. They are still fighting on, soldiering through, and pushing on to try and get some points on this map. Interesting initial defense here as Silent Reaper and Battlestar both stand by the West Bungalow in order to try and see what they can see, but you can see these blue lasers pointing at Silent Reaper as he makes this cross, successfully getting into the lower basement of Barthel. And I think that's going to be a very, very tough spot to for AhmehFluff to defend, well, to attack. Flooper, though, got into a position to be able to see Amethyst as he's moving around out in the open there. Again, there's the punishment for being out in the open. Fantastic shot onto IMG as he peeks that window. Looks like a team kill has come out there. Silent Reaper taking out a member. AhmehFluff now being able to push through in the south, coming out the valley.
No distraction for him.
And you can hear the fear in MP's voice as he makes that cross. Everyone knows it's just death, potentially. You just never, ever, ever know. Is anyone going to be sitting in there or not? And or just in a building watching that lane. So have fear whenever you make those crosses, because that is what gets you through them. We're hearing lots of gunshots at the moment coming out. Flooper, though, finding Tommy. Quickly, we're down to the single last member of AhmehMoss defending this. You can see Flooper now trying to get into that high position. MP does finish off IMG. Silent Reaper just narrowly missing Flooper as he has to hit to the ground just to not get shot. And people, this is VR. Oh, but the cap was coming out. I wasn't watching. I was watching that. Apologies all, AhmehFluff. Get the final cap of the night while Silent Reaper is distracted, and myself apparently. Very well played. I mean, I wasn't even watching for that, so that happened fast, that did. I gotta say, very well played by AhmehFluff in order to get into those positions. Just quit last. KD check there, and Lost Eye on the Mr. Flooper, both with 6 kills apiece on this map. Fantastic play. AhmehMoss really, really tried there, and that's what's the important thing, really. Fingers crossed. They watch this back and they see what didn't quite go right, what could go better next time. It's all a learning curve, and at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you guys and both sides, new teams, and it's very tough. So very well played by AhmehFluff there. And in order to get those successful victories, especially being 2 players down, only having a reservist with them, so they were playing with 4 the entire night. And AhmehMoss, unfortunately, just not quite able to get out on top there. So keep up with the practice, keep scrimming, and watch these streams, see what you can do, and come back and just keep trying. It's all fun, and it's all learning, basically. So on that note, though, I am going to be signing off. It is 1:15 AM here in the UK. It's been a great cast, and I've been been a pleasure to be able to bring these teams to you, these two brand new teams, and hopefully we will see more of these guys as the coming weeks come in. There is going to be more casts coming out. There is going to be more casts coming out in the week, and we're going to be bringing even more to you. So keep an eye out on the channels, VRML 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you're following. And on that note, I am going to be leaving you. I have been your host, Jamie. It's been a fantastic scrim. It's been a fantastic match. Sorry. So thank you for watching. Till then.